The first is public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant. The second is questions from the public. The third is public speaking in opposition. And the fourth is questions from the council. So we'll start the public hearing with the public speaking in favor. And I ask you to state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jeff Silver. I'm with National Grid, 245 South Main Street, Hopedale, Massachusetts.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, you want to just give a quick overview of the project?
We're just going to be, like was said, installing conduit with conductor inside of it to remove existing direct buried in the ground transformers and put them pad mounted. It's more for give reliability for the area and remove the existing direct buried cables that tend to be worn easier and give more faults and more outages to the customers.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Is there anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Anyone else speaking in favor? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. Are there any questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Yeah, well, hang on. We'll get you to a microphone, and we have you state your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Patty Surveys. I'm at 209 Vega Road, and I'm accompanying my friend Carol, who had questions but left in a coughing fit, and she didn't tell me what her questions were in advance. So I'm just talking now to kind of hold her spot, I guess. Carol! I really don't know. She was worried about, you know, how much disruption would be happening, and in particular, when she went and looked at the plans, her house wasn't listed on the plan. And
you can talk slower and see if she gets there if you like.
Okay. I don't know what her address is. She's on the opposite side of the street from me, so the even side of the street before you get down to McNeil. So I assume the project is going to be covering her house as well.
I'll let Jeff answer, but typically they're replacing all the underground cable in the Woodland, Vega, McNeil area because it's some reliability issues, and I guess these are updated conduits and cables to put in.
So instead of digging up the whole street, what they'll do is they'll pick one end of the street, they'll dig there, and then just directional drill. And any place that needs to get seeded or repaired will be minor repairs in that area. As opposed to digging up the entire street and putting in conduit, the new system is directional drill already in the ground, and it's less repairs for the entire roadway.
Does that help, Pat, or is there any question?
Does it start at Gooddale and head down towards McNeil on Vega?
That is a phenomenal question. Nice, I'll check to see if it does. I believe it starts. I believe it starts at Gooddale, correct, and then comes up Vega Road, and then tees off to Butler Circle and Juniper Road.
And then continues on to McNeil, or stops at Juniper?
I believe that's where it ends, because I don't see any McNeil on this sketch, to be honest with you.
Oh, because I thought in the plans that it said that one of the riser poles was going to be at McNeil and Concord.
Does not show that on this petition.
So is the riser at Concord and Gooddale?
Mr. President, if I may, I have copies of something from National Grid that shows it going all the way to McNeil Circle on plans.
Okay, so that, Pat, to help, so this will end up getting referred to Public Services Committee, and we can help answer those questions. I don't want to apologize for National Grid, but the individual that's supposed to be here fell ill, so they brought some replacements in to fill in for him, but it will be discussed at the Public Services Committee where if you get your questions to the Public Service Chair ahead of time, I'm sure they'll be happy to answer it. Or
maybe what Carol saw was the portion that stops at Juniper and Butler. It looks like Tom might want to say something.
Tom may have a few words.
I don't know if I'm willing to give up my spot.
You may not.
Microphone. Okay, Tom.
So I think, and I mentioned this in my memo, I think that's the section in front of their houses that was done a year or year and a half ago as an emergency.
McNeil to Vega was already completed.
Yeah.
I guess we can go.
So-
It's good to have a surveyor as a neighbor.
Well,
If they were,
well, you can stay to the end of the public hearing if you'd like. Any other questions from the public? Well, hang on, it's not our turn to ask, I know. Well, that's not our call. All right, so any other questions for the public? Any other questions from the public? Are there any other questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Any public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the councilors. Councilor Landers.
I just want to make a couple comments. It is in public services, and I have to talk to them, not listen. Recommend comments to you guys.
Put on your mic.
You will find that it'll work pretty well. It is in public services. We watch that very closely. But what we have going for us, we work very close with the Department of Public Works, especially Tom. And but National Grid is good. They keep us pretty well informed. You know, they make the place look good before they go home for the day. And I think that the end result will be good. I have one of the first underground neighborhoods in Marlborough. It's 50 years old. And they've done it a couple times. Now they have the process down really good. You know, they occasionally have to cut across a driveway or something. But anything they do, they restore it pretty well. Now, at my public service meeting, which probably I hope to be within 2 weeks, I have a big one this Wednesday, but this isn't on there. You can't ask questions, but we could talk before, after, and if you have any outstanding questions, we'll certainly answer them. Or you can always call me at the office here. Okay? That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Any other comments or questions from the council? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just a general question when it comes to these types of projects. You know, obviously it's going to affect a variety of customers of yours. What sort of, you know, outages would be expected for these clients?
There would be no outages during the construction. The only outage that would occur when they put the new cable into service. And then they're looking to get the project completed within 3 weeks.
Okay. So, but when it comes to putting in the new cable, is an outage would be in minutes, hours?
Probably be a few hours to take the old one out and then
Put in the new one?
put the new one in.
Okay, okay.
But they would call ahead of time to let the customers know
Yep.
what our plan is.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Councilor Wagner.
Thank you. Yes, I was involved with the, there was an emergency project, so I just want to make sure that the residents understand. So it's you did a great job then, too. So it's the cable's buried directly in the ground, and so if it's near ledge and every time the ground shifts, it was cutting the cable. So there was a residence on, I believe it was Butler Circle off of Vega, that would lose in power regularly, and it was one particularly problematic during the pandemic shutdown when people were trying to work from home, and there was somebody that had some medical equipment that was very bad when they lost power, because then he couldn't use his emergency equipment. So I'm grateful that this job is continuing, and at that time that it was pretty fantastic. That was some of the question, was thinking the whole street would be dug up, but you do that directional drilling, and it's all underground. It's really fast. It's not very disruptive, and again, it was poor, I guess, when it was originally thought it was a good idea to bury the cables directly in the ground. I'm not sure why the folks thought that was a good idea, but the conduit is going to remove a lot of the problems. So grateful that this is being done, and last time it was done quickly and with very few disruptions, so excellent seeing this happening now. Thank you.
Councilor Wagner, they may want you on their PR team.
She's hired.
Are there any other comments or questions from the councilors? Comments or questions from the councilors? Comments or questions from the councilors? Seeing none, I close that part of the public hearing and the entire public hearing, and it is in public service. Thank you very much, Jeff. Thanks, guys.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Tom. Pat, Claire, thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay, moving on, agenda item which was number 2.
From Council President Ossing, the mayor to update the City Council on the $1,422,500 transfer from the undesignated fund to the West Side Fire Station Stabilization Account per Council Order Number 21-100-8468A.
Mr. Mayor. Motion to move this to later in the agenda, and we'll take it up if he doesn't show down later in the agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I will move to table this until the mayor is available to come down, or take
Motion
it
to
up
table, or
and...
we'll take it up at the end of the agenda. All those in favor of tabling now and moving to the end of the agenda? All those in favor? Opposed? It is tabled to the end of the agenda. Agenda item number 4.
Communication from the mayor regarding a grant acceptance in the amount of $25,000 from the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office awarded to the City of Marlborough to be administered through the Human Services Office for fuel assistance for Marlborough residents in need.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the grant, please.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the grant. Is there any discussion on the motion? Councilor Orem.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to also recognize that they mentioned the United Way was part of this grant, so just for recognition to the United Way.
Understand, we'll recognize United Way. Anyone else? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I was wondering to the mayor about this. If someone is interested in the assistance, who should they reach out to?
A motion to suspend the rules to let the mayor answer the question. All those in favor of suspension? Opposed? Suspension's approved. Mr. Mayor.
The fuel assistance program. Do you know, if someone wants to get access to the fuel assistance program, who should they reach out to?
Fuel assistance program is simply additional funding we have that works through our Human Services Department. They take in applications and requests all the time. It's really additional funding that's, we have 2 years, I believe, till June of 24 to utilize the funds. So it's just some additional funding that we have for.
So City Hall person.
You go right through Human Services up at the Walker Building. Nilsa takes care of that, and so it's no different. It's based on need, and that's how we give it up.
Okay, I appreciate that. Just wanted clarification.
Great.
Any other comments or any discussion on the motion? On the motion to approve the grant, all those in favor? Opposed? The grant is approved 11-0. Entertain a motion to move up number 2 to allow the mayor to speak.
How about I move to take off the table item number 2?
Motion made and seconded to take off the table agenda item number 2. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Couple things. First of all, those that made it to the employee pizza party the other night, thank you very much for coming down. I think a lot of the employees that were there really appreciated the opportunity to get together out of work a little bit. And just a little update on the COVID front. We have 20 cases in the city. So we're going to hover around that point there. The Stop the Spread has 2 more days, Wednesday and Thursday of this week, 8 to 11. And then they're packing their bags and going back to the hospital, and we will not have testing here in the city. The Stop the Spread is going to continue over in Framingham. In vaccination front, as of the other day from the state, we have 91% of our residents have had 1 dose. Actually, we just crossed the big mark of 80% of our city is fully vaccinated. So we're just sneaking up to that 80% mark, but we've made it. 40% of the city has been boosted at this point. And the 5 to 11-year-olds in the city really are moving forward. 54% of them have had 1 dose, and 43% have been fully vaccinated. So that's going pretty well. The clinics, so we have a clinic coming up. We have 3 clinics coming up. Other than the regular one at City Hall, we do on Wednesdays. We're going to be doing that through April from 12 to 1 up in Memorial Hall. They do take walk-ins, but they prefer appointments. Bring your insurance card if you have one. If you're looking for your second shot or your booster shot, please bring your COVID card. Kennedy's is going to be holding a pop-up down this Friday The first, 11:30 to 1 down there. So get down there and have a great lunch and get your booster or your second or first shot. Same thing with Classic Pizza is doing it on Tuesday, April 5th, from 11 to 1. Again, we thank them for stepping up to the plate and giving us the opportunity. And the third one we have lined up is Terrific, next Monday, a week from Monday, April 11th, from 11:30 to 1. There'll be a pop-up over there for our vaccinations. So, with that, Mr. President, I don't have anything new on the fire station. I think we went through that last week and nothing has changed. So, I'll take any questions anyone has.
Any questions for the mayor? Councilor Roby?
I'm not sure if it's questions, but I kind of went back through some history. So if I start back with the September 27th agenda, the mayor had a letter requesting funds to purchase 100 Lock Drive to house a new fire station. So the order consisted of the authorization for the city to acquire the property, to authorize an appropriation from stabilization in the amount of $5,092,666.66, and authorize the mayor to accept a deed for the property. And it also had a transfer sheet for that amount of money from the stabilization undesignated account, 83600322925, and showed $16,801,711.42 as the balance in that account. If you don't know, that amount was what was shown on the stabilization fund analysis FY22 that was available from the auditor, which showed that DOR certified our free cash, $15 million and change, and then we made 2 deductions from OPED and stabilization, which left $12,002,160. On December 6th, the mayor submitted a letter with an amended transfer to clarify the funding source would be included from the funds from Phase 1 of the Green District totaling $82,500 as one source, with the other from the undesignated fund or account 100,035,900, which is the free cash account, not the account that has the $16 million. He also submitted a new transfer sheet. Mr. Kerrigan assigned the order, giving it a B1 from the other order and referencing the another order in there. And it got confusing, and I think we were somewhat confused when we had the Finance Committee meeting. Order number 21-100-8402A is the 3-part order from the September 27th agenda. Order 21-100-8402B is the transfer from the 9/27 agenda with funds taken from the stabilization undesignated account. But the December 6th order has the funds taken from the undesignated free cash account, but there was no amended 3-part order at the meeting. I believe the order that was approved at the Finance Committee meeting recently was the one taking funds from the undesignated account, or the free cash account. In early December last year, I had a conversation with President Ossing. He had notified me that he had sent an email to Diane Smith when he noticed that there was an amount of money coming from the Green District. So when I became aware, I contacted the mayor and asked him to send down a transfer for the funds. So when his amended order in December came in, it was clear he was using the funds from free cash to cover the purchase, while the council's intent was to have this money go into an account to pay for construction. When the agenda for December 6th came out, and it was clear the mayor was using money from the free cash account, I asked for a suspension of the rules and submitted an order for myself and President Ossing asking the mayor to establish an account and transfer the money. The suspension was approved, and this was referred to the Finance Committee, and a meeting was held on December 13th. Finance Committee recommended approval on December 20th. The rules were suspended, and the council approved the order to establish an account called the West Side Fire Station Stabilization Account and submit a transfer request of $1,422,500 from the undesignated to this account. On February 28th, the council agenda, the mayor submitted an order establishing the account. This was referred to Finance, and on the agenda of March 21st, FinCom meeting. That was also on that Finance Committee meeting was the revised transfer to purchase Lock Drive using not only the $822,500, which is part of that $1 million plus, but another $4,270,166, all from free cash, undesignated, to purchase the land, while not touching any of his original $16 million in the stabilization account. We have no transfer from the mayor to move the funds from the Green District to the West Side Fire Station stabilization account, and he indicated at the Finance Committee meeting that there would be no transfer. The free cash account no longer has $12,002,160 because and although the February 14th transfer sheet indicated there was $909,493, it was reducing the $5 million and change from the mayor's adjusted transfer sheet for the fire station that we have not actually approved. We did approve a transfer from this account of $768,447 on February 28th to pay for various salary adjustments, as there wasn't enough funds in the reserve account, the salary reserve. The free cash account has $11,233,713, which is more than enough to transfer the requested $1,422,500 to be put in the West Side Fire Station stabilization account that this council has approved. And there is enough left over to also transfer the $5 million plus change that the mayor would like to have us approve to purchase the property. I asked the mayor again to bring down a transfer to meet the council's request to move funds received from the special permits into the account we have set up. This item was put on the agenda tonight because although there have been conversations between President Ossing as the agenda or set up for the meetings, it was clear the mayor had no plans to do that. So I would ask if the mayor can explain why you won't do what the council is asking you to do, and I guess in my opinion what no other mayor has ever done in not taking funds that the council puts aside in special permits and then sets aside special accounts and has a transfer brought before to have it done.
Well, again, Council, I think I explained it all last week. The money that's given in mitigation funds goes into free cash and closes out at the end of the year. It goes to the general fund and closes out the free cash at the end of the year. So that's where this money's going. And I decided that I wanted to skip a step to try to get things done quickly, rather than transferring in the stabilization account and then transfer it from the stabilization account to an account to purchase the property. I go straight to the account to purchase the property. As far as breaking the transfer up that we did at the end of last year, that was after discussions with the president, and it was agreed to change that and send down an amended transfer. So that's why that was done back then. So we can, again, we can talk about it till we're blue in the face. As far as no other mayor has ever done that, Councilor, there's things all the time. There's requests from me that come down here and either get tabled or sent to committee, never to be taken up again. There's been things from councils that's been sent to the mayor's office, never to be taken up again. So it's a give and take in the process. I was shortcutting the process by putting it directly into the purchase, and that's why it was done that way. As simple as that.
Any other councilors? Councilor Roby, can I have you take the chair, please?
Oh, sit up there.
Are there any other councilors who wish to speak?
Madam President.
Councilor Ossing?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Mayor, I want to commend you. You have been one of the most biggest advocates for the West Side Fire Station. Your last two inauguration speeches highlighted that fact, that you are leading the charge. You've had two public meetings in which you sat and chaired those meetings to convince the need for a fire station. You sponsored the West Side Fire Station story, or report, again, highlighting the need for the fire station. You've had numerous public appearances with the Rotaries and others to state the need for the fire station. So it's clear to me you're a strong advocate for the West Side Fire Station. So I'm going to ask again, why won't you submit the transfer that the council has in a special permit for the West Side Fire Station? Because what you have put in your letter is for purchase of land, not for the fire station. I'll let you answer the question, Mr. Mayor.
Asked and answered, Council, several times.
All right. So I want the councilors to understand he is being reluctant to do what the council wants. So let's look at this for a little bit. So the city council, that's all of us, are the special permit granting authority. We have the authority, not the mayor, to create special permits. And in the special permits, we put in mitigation monies or do things that we think are in the best interest for the city. And one of those happens to be mitigation monies. Mitigation monies that we decide where we want it to go. Not the mayor, this council. So what the mayor's trying to tell you is he doesn't care what you're trying to do. All right? So in my 23 years on this council, I have never come across a mayor that does not support the requests a council have had to submit monies from a special permit. All right? That's Mayor Morrow, Mayor Hunt, Mayor Stevens, until now, Mayor Vigil. Right? All those requests that are buried in special permits have gone through almost seamlessly. Right? The councils ask for it, and the mayors do it. It's been a collaborative working relationship where the mayors honor the council's hard work for allocating those mitigation funds. Right? And I'll argue many of those permits, Mr. Mayor, you've been on this council on this side. And I would argue again, even further, if you were sitting in my spot right now and one of those previous mayors was telling you they were not going to do what you as a councilor, you probably would be behaving a little differently than this council is behaving. We're simply asking you to do what the council worked so hard to obtain, which is what we put in the special permit. So what did we put in the special permit? The condition says, payments shall be payable to funds or funds designated by the city council, not the mayor, the city council. All right? So I'm struggling why, Mr. Mayor, you find it's okay to do what you want and not what the council has asked you. This isn't adversarial. We all want a fire station. We all know you need to purchase the land. There's money in the undesignated funds. I have still not heard the answer why you will not transfer monies that this council worked hard in the special permit to do. So again, if you're going to claim it's in that first one, it's only $800,000. So then I ask you, where's the other $600,000, Mr. Mayor?
Which question do you want me to answer, Council?
I'd like you to answer them all, but whichever one you'd like to answer.
I think the problem is you're standing on some principles and you're not understanding, you nor Councilor Roby are understanding the transfer process. So it's as simple as that. The transfer you have before you today is for the purchase of the land to build this fire station. Can't build a fire station unless I have land. This is the beginning of the process. This is how a building is constructed. You negotiate something, you buy the property, You design the building, you build the building. You need the land before you can build the building. This is to buy the land to build the building. So you're on this principle thing that we're going to hold everything up because it's not exactly as, first of all, it's not in the special permit that it's going to the fire station. That was determined later. All right? So we've been going through this process, and you have the answer, Counselor. You just don't like the answer.
Well, because the answer is unreasonable, Mr. Mayor. You're not doing what you were requested to do. And every councilor sitting here today really needs to take a deep, hard look. That the mayor, we're going to put items in the special permit, and the mayor is basically going to snub his nose at what we want. Think hard about future special permits. I'll take exception to us delaying anything. We're not obstructing it. The request you have before the council is to purchase land. There is no guarantee the land will be built for a fire station. That's our intent. But there is no guarantee. We do know we want to build a fire station. And that's for the councils that are on this committee now and the ones in 2019 when we issued the special permit, and maybe some Ward 3 councilor and Ward 4 councilor, though you weren't here at the time, want a fire station on the west side of the city. Everybody here has campaigned on that, all right? So the money that we're asking for, that we worked hard on that special permit, is for the building of a fire station, and we're setting up that mitigation. And so why is it troubling? So the mayor's letter says $800,000 is going to be used of that $1.4 million to buy a piece of land. So if you're going to accept that, this follow-up question should be, what about the other $600,000? Will you send the other $600,000 to the West Side Fire Station stabilization account?
I can tell you right now, it depends on the transfer. If the transfer goes through with full support, we're moving forward, and there'll be another request for additional funding that will include the $600,000. If not, there'll be a transfer request for $1.4 million that'll go into that stabilization account and earn a lot of interest over the next few years, and will not be moved forward.
So I'm still not clear on that answer.
Counselor, you're not getting it. We're not going to communicate on this. We've had discussions about it. You can beat it some more, but you're not going to get a different answer. So you can keep asking the same question, but I'm done answering questions. Thank you very much.
So what you heard is there is no answer to the question. It's just a reluctance to not want to do it. So then what about phase 2 money when that comes in June? Is that going to go to the stabilization account?
No. We'll see when it comes in. It's in. We'll make a decision on that.
So the council has never had to send orders to the mayor asking to do what's in a special permit. Mayors have always done what the council asks. It's been a very collaborative working relationship. It's worked extremely well in the 23 years I've been here. All right? So why now? I don't understand. I still don't have my answer. You have no valid reason not to honor the conditions of the special permit other than be vindictive and obstructionist and to create a challenging work environment between the mayor's office and city council. That's it. That's it.
Transfer for 6 months and haven't moved on it.
That's it. I mean, so if I take your logic with that, Mr. Mayor, the one from stabilization had no mention of $800,000.
That's right.
None.
We had follow-up conversations. It was your recommendation to take it from free cash instead of the stabilization fund.
I agree with you 100%.
I made the transfer change down here on your recommendation.
That's right, and I agree 100%.
Now you're sitting over there trying to be the judge and the jury. All right, I'm done. Thank you very much for your time. I'm done.
So, Councilor, ask yourself, is this behavior becoming of a mayor, right? I mean, this is a transfer that we asked for. Did I ask for it to come from undesignated for the $5 million? You bet I did, but not the $1.4 million that we needed as part of the special permit that this body approved. So if you're going to let this go, it really say, well, why issue special permits or why put conditions? Because it's of no value to us if the mayor's going to say and do what he wants. So think hard. Again, I'm disappointed in the mayor's performance. You know, it's not becoming of a mayor. It's not what I expect. I've worked long and hard with Mayor Vigent. We've had plenty of disagreements, and we've been able to disagree what I call in rational and understanding moments where I understand where he's coming from, and I'll be candid. This one, I just do not understand. And so for every resident out there that wants that West Side Fire Station, they should be a little perturbed right now that the money that this council asked for to put in there, and we've got another $1.4 million coming, all right? And what you heard is it may not come to what we, the city council, asked for. So thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Dumas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, excuse me with my thoughts. My heart is beating in my throat a little bit because I just don't understand what's going on based upon the mere principle of everything. Representing Ward 3 and knowing that the fire station needs to happen in the West End to represent my constituents as well as councilors at large, in especially Ward 4 as well. It bothers me that I have to plead and beg the residents of Ward 3 to bear with us as the construction continues to build and build and build, and because that is the only land that's available to build, to have income coming in to help the tax here in the city. And so when you ask the residents and the constituents to have patience and bear with us as there's more traffic and more pollution and more speeding, and because it's all going to the West Side Fire Station, it's very difficult to know that this lingers in the vote of 1.4 million, which seems to be a drop in the bucket in the budget as a whole. Having sat for many months on the actual fire station committee and learning a ridiculous amount of knowledge from so many high-level supervisors and people in the industry, and to get that knowledge and to know, to be a part of that, and to know that now the West Side Fire Station is not going to come to fruition only because of 1.4 and the mayor not transferring. It's a hard pill to swallow, and I know that we as councilors need to stand for what's right based upon principle. It's how I live my life, and I would hope that the councilors here would do so as well. I know it's a tough ask to vote for this transfer that will be coming up, but I understand if you don't, because I am very torn. I don't understand why the mayor just can't transfer the 1.4. I think it's splitting hairs. It's nice that the constituents can see how much money is actually revolving in that West Side stabilization count for the actual building of the fire station. That was what I thought the intent was for when we built the Green Project, which is a massive project in Ward 3 that changes the whole landscape of that area. I was torn with that project, but I felt like it was a right project also because the mitigation money that was coming in specifically for the fire station, what I thought was the building of, not the land. As President Ossing said earlier, we don't know if that building is going to be built. It's just for the land. And who knows how long after that. If the mayor decides to not run next term or the term after that, who knows where that money will be if he does not build that station and we just have the land. So I know that I am torn with all of this, and I'm interested to see how this goes moving forward. We do not have a suspension of the rules for that transfer, so I would hope if the mayor is listening to transfer the rest of the money or to figure this out, because I do not think that you'll have enough votes for the transfer, which would mean that the West End Fire Station will come to a screeching halt, which cannot happen for my constituents of Ward 3. They've been advocating this for at least 20 years now, for about 8 years that I've been trying to run and have this position. So I encourage the mayor and all of you to speak to him or talk to your constituents to put pressure on the mayor to transfer the remaining funds so we can move this forward, because I would hate to see a no vote based upon principle, which I know that all of you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dumas. Anyone else? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think I can see the perspective from both sides of this debate. And I think that the mayor may have a case of short-termitis more than anything else at this point. Because, you know, the transfer includes this money, What we're arguing about is, you know, does the money go into basically a fund to purchase the property, or does it go into a fund for construction? You know, the council would prefer to see a fund going for construction. You know, there's no guarantee that we have the property either, is another point. So even if the money went into that, that may still blow up in front of us. While if it went into the fund for construction, yes, it stays there. Even if we lose that property, then it's still there to look at some other property. So I'm for having it go into a stabilization fund, but I am also torn because this is about negotiations between the city of Marlborough and the current landowner. You know, this is starting of the process of eminent domain. It will probably cost more than the $5 million. You know, and if we're getting more money in, I'll bet you $1 of that the mayor's going to take whatever the second fund comes in to use it to do the final purchase with some other free cash or wherever the money comes from. But, you know, I think it's important that we show to the current landowner that we're taking this seriously as far as doing the purchase. And what really upsets me about the mayor's response is that it's going to end up dividing the council, where we should be showing a unified front. And I think that that's a failing of leadership, to your point, okay? Because this is important for the west side of the city to get done, and it's important to show a unified front. And instead, we're bickering about where the heck the money goes. What's wrong with this picture, you know? And that's, you know, that's my concern, is that we're focusing on the wrong point, okay? I think, you know, Councilor Dumas, you'll appreciate that I'll probably be supporting this, because I think it's important we support this for the city. But it's the process that's driving me crazy, because it's not the way it should have been, okay? And we shouldn't be arguing about this type of stuff. We should be collaborating. And as I said, you know, I think he's not necessarily keeping an eye on the ball for the long-term play, but that's just my humble opinion. But thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. And again, from my perspective, at the Finance Committee meeting, I think I counted 11 people in favor of supporting that transfer of $5 million. That's just from my perspective. So there should be no concern on the mayor's part where that goes. But that vote will come next week or in 2 weeks. Any other councilors? Any other councilors? Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, it's confusing as hell. It's pretty hard to meet someone on Main Street tomorrow or a coffee shop and say, Don, what's going on? The bottom line is, you know, some communities would be arguing and fighting of getting the money. We have the money. The bottom line is, all right, as a council, we've made decisions of what money, where the money's coming from, all right? You know, what's disappointing, I think we could have had the vote last week and there would have been 11 votes for the fire station. And that's the place we ought to be at right now. Here it is a week later, and we're still bumping heads with the office upstairs and here. I think, Mr. President, we ought to vote the transfer. We ought to vote what the city council wants and let the chips fall where they may.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Anyone else? So, I'm sorry. Councilor Wagner.
I have to say, I'm thoroughly confused too. I mean, is there something more that we need to add to educate us of what's happening? I'm hearing we've got the money. Like Councilor Landers said, it's the difference between free cash, undesignated, the West Side Fire Station. I don't understand. Is there something more? I think it's 100%. Everybody sees the need and wants to see the fire station plan proceed. Again, we have the money. So if it comes from a different, is there something, I don't understand the mayor's position. Is it change like our bond rating? Is there something, is this just a battle of the wills, which breaks my heart to think we're going to argue over something that everybody agrees on? So I don't understand what's happening, and then when the vote comes, are we talking about the thing in I'm not even sure. I mean, I feel like I don't have enough information to even make a meaningful vote, and I'm very disappointed. I don't understand why this is what's happening. And the animosity, and it's just, as Councilor Dumas said, we need this, residents need this fire station. That should be the only thing we're concerned about, and how can we keep this process moving ahead?
So if I can answer a couple of those for you, Councilor Wagner. So the issue is the undesignated transfer of $5 million, all right, is going to purchase the land, or potentially purchase the land. The City Council had a special permit that says when mitigation funds come in, they go to an account set up by the City Council. And that account that we set up is the West Side Fire Stabilization Account. So is the money there? Yeah, we got, as Councilor Roby said, we got $11 million sitting in the free cash account. So it's not a money issue, which in essence is what I'm kind of perturbed about. It's a simple, make the transfer. It's not like it's not raising anybody's taxes. This is developer money that came in at a designation that you, the City Council, made. So why would that not be honored? It's been honored for years. Right? So that's it in a nutshell. And let me say, I'm going to continue to work with the mayor. You know, we can continue to disagree on certain things, but I'm going to do everything in my power to move the city of Marlborough forward. I will also do everything in my power to convince them to make that transfer. And I hope people will help us with that. I mean, we need to work collaboratively. We can't sit there and say, well, because he's not doing this, we're not going to do. Bad path to go down, ladies and gentlemen. That's not where you want to be, right? You want to be above that fray. You know, I think you heard the mayor. He doesn't have a good reason for not transferring that money, other than, in my opinion, to be an obstructionist or be vindictive. There's no good reason for it. The money's there. You guys all voted to approve where that money to go. You voted to approve setting up that account. So you know, I can't speak for him. You heard him, and not sure what I heard, but it wasn't the answer we were all looking for. Anyone else? Councilor Orem.
Thank you, Mr. President. The way I see it is, I don't want to speak for the mayor, because I'm not for sure where he's at, but so when this 2.8 million, 1.4 for each building being built comes in, money's coming in, but we as a council wanted it to go to the West Side Fire Station Stabilization Account. Presently, the recent, well, we have 1.4 already here in the city, and the mayor just noted just tonight that we have the other 1.4. I thought I heard him.
We don't have that.
Okay, I thought I heard him say that, but maybe
he did say it, but we don't have it yet.
Well, we're going to see the second building built and another 1.4 million coming in. That was the payment, so they don't have to have affordable housing, that 15% as noted in our laws, our zoning laws. But the question I have, I think what we were trying, I don't know, I wish the mayor was here, because our intent was just to put it in another bucket so it's preserved in that bucket, the West Side Fire Station Stabilization Account, versus maybe the big bucket of the stabilization account. It's easier to track and it doesn't get lost. I don't know if, again, if he was here, I'd ask him what's the difference. Because it's in the city's coffers. Somewhere it's being accounted for, and I'm sure it's just easier for everyone to track what we have. I don't know why we're at this point. I concur with Councilor Dumas. We need to move forward, and I guess I'll just continue to track it without it being in that stabilization account till someday it will get to that West Side Fire Station Stabilization Account. I don't want it to detract my vote from the need for the fire station. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I believe, as you do, Councilor Orem, it will get there. It's just the consternation at this point is a little troubling. Councilor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to everyone who already spoke. I guess I similarly am confused. It feels like very out of character, the exchanges that we've been seeing, particularly in the Finance Committee meeting. I know we all take an oath of office and want to live up to high ideals for the residents of the city and make sure that we're following, separation of powers and ensuring the responsibilities of each branch of government is working effectively. And I would hate to see something as, I guess, at the end of the day, simple as just where the money is coming from prevent us from moving forward I didn't really understand the mayor's remarks. It seemed avoiding the questions that were being asked, and that's unfortunate because I know he wants this fire station as much as everyone here on the council. And I share with Councilor Wagner, it does feel like we're missing some information. It doesn't make much sense if we want to move forward. There's so many times where, you know, rules have been suspended to move quickly on something. It seems very simple. If we get other orders coming down, this would just be another one that would also come to the council. And, you know, I wasn't obviously on the council when that initial money was set aside, but I think it's important to respect the authority of the city council and the work that was done to secure that funds. We know how quickly the money comes out, and so it's really important to make sure we know where it is when we are able to secure it for specific uses. And so I don't know what the status is for this moving forward. Is the intention that we would, you know, in another meeting have another discussion, because it does feel like that's belaboring things, but also, you know, I would hope that there could be more collaboration with the mayor's office. I think we always want to put a good faith effort in that regard, and I would hate to see this sort of fall into a standstill.
Your confusion is well justified because it's the same one I have. I just don't understand why the transfer can't be made. There has not been a good, hence why this item is on the agenda. We all had to hear it because it's not doing what the council asked for. Again, as councilors, that's got to hit hard. That's taking your authority away.
And if I may, Mr. President, I know when sort of the request, there's no guarantee that this money would be used for the purpose that the council intended, even if they move forward on the initial purchasing for the land. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
There's still a lack of clarity about it specifically going towards the fire station from the mayor's end. It seemed, you know, sort of the next phase of the money, it was sort of like maybe something would come down. It was still unclear.
So we have before us that the finance chair is going to report out this evening a $5 million transfer from undesignated to go after to purchase 100 Lock Drive. Right? That's there. Right? The mayor claims 800,000 of that is from the developer. Well, no, it's not. That's not what the council asked for. So it's $5 million to purchase. That vote you're all going to take. You're going to say yay or nay to purchase that land. That's going to be in 2 weeks, unless you want to suspend the rules and vote it tonight. I advise to let that sit for 2 weeks to let things calm down.
Not get anything from me.
But that vote's there. The issue is the money that this council asked for and the account that this council established. He signed the order to set up the account, and he signed the same order that said transfer the money. He's not doing part 2 of the order. And the answer you heard, there's money on the table if someone can repeat it. I don't understand what he said. I honestly don't understand why the transfer won't be made. It's literally that simple. Though it may sound confusing, but it is that simple.
Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely feel I'm hopeful. You know, I am hopeful that as we move towards the next month, you know, spring, people will be in better moods, and hopefully we'll be able to, you know, come to some agreement, because I do think this is so important. And as Councilor Dumas mentioned, how hard he and others have been fighting for this for a very long time, and we want to make sure the residents have that necessary public safety. Thank you.
No, thank you, Councilman. And again, it's when the finance chair reads out the report, you'll all have that opportunity to weigh in on that. Anyone else? Anyone else? Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I guess I have to agree with all of the comments. I know how important having the fire station built is. We have a place where hopefully it can be built, and I understand the mayor's desire to have the money in hand so he can go and negotiate. I found, looking through past records, in 2018 was when $10 million was on our agenda for a bond for a fire station, and we tabled it because at that time we didn't know where it was going to go and we didn't know what it was really going to cost. So we're kind of at that same point again. We sort of know where it's going to go. We have no idea what it's going to cost. And I don't know if it's something I'm going to throw out. To go back to the original transfer request that the mayor sent us back in September, where he had the money coming from the undesignated account, not the free cash account.
So stabilization, undesignated stabilization.
Yes. He then sent down the other transfer, which I believe is the one that was approved by the Finance Committee. Rather than approving that can we go back and approve the original one and have it taken out of the undesignated stabilization account? And then that leaves the whole 11 million that's sitting in the free cash account with some push. And my concern about doing either of these is if the mayor does not do what we want him to do by June 30th, that free cash disappears and it rolls over again until our free cash is certified. So we lose the opportunity technically. We've lost other mitigation money because we didn't know it came in. We didn't ask for a transfer. How are we supposed to know money comes in? And so it got rolled over into free cash. So that's why our free cash, I believe, for this year is as high as it is because some of that mitigation money came in. So I'll put that out there as a think about it, because I know how much the mayor wants that bond or that transfer approved. I want the other transfer here first before I'm going to vote to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Anyone else? Any other councilors? Councilor Doucette.
I just want clarification of what something Katie Roby said. Just as a general rule, is it any money that's in the undesignated stabilization account becomes free cash the next year?
No, that stays there forever. So undesignated stabilization money takes 8 votes to move the money around. Having a good-sized stabilization account looks favorably on our bond rating.
Sure.
Because they like to see that we have that money then. The free cash, which is also called undesignated fund, but not a stabilization fund, undesignated or free cash only requires 6 votes. All right, so and as Councilor Roby said, at the end of the year, that goes out to 0, but usually what's left starts, you know, if we end with 11 million, we technically will start.
It's a recount.
Yeah, the next fiscal year 23's free cash will be $11 million plus whatever else. Now remember, we still got snow and ice transfer to come down. Not too bad, right, Tom? So we still got that. So that'll come out of stabilization, the undesignated fund rather. So that'll draw down on a little bit. But that's it. I think we have $100,000 for a betterment program sitting in there right now as well for the sewer project. Anyone else? All right, so again, thank you for the discussion. Again, and I encourage, we will continue to work collaboratively with the mayor to move the city forward. That's not the intent to be obstructionist or anything. We want to move the city forward, and we'll continue to work on this issue separately. So with that, moving on, agenda item number 5.
Yes. Communication from the mayor regarding statement of interest for Marlborough Public Schools to the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to refer to the Finance Committee.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Finance Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sure there'll be plenty of discussion on this. I support it, but what was alarming to me is when the school committee in their minutes, when they were reviewing the present status of our student population, back when they built the Goodnow School, Goodnow Brothers School, they were projecting by FY26 that we would be at 2,260 students K through 5. We're already at 2,478. So we're already 200 or so over what was projected. And I know it was a projection, but obviously you can see there's going to be a need for some additional school properties in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other discussion on referring to finance? Seeing none, all those in favor of referring to finance? 11 for, none opposed. It is referred to Finance Committee. Agenda item number 6.
Communication from Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding requests to present information regarding Chapter 358 of the Acts of 2020, multifamily zoning requirements.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to move for this presentation to occur on the May 11th, January, February, March, April. I should stop using numbers. April.
Motion made and seconded to have the solicitor come down and present the housing information to us at our April 11th meeting. Remember, it's a presentation, not a public hearing. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? There's a presentation set for April 11th. From the solicitor, agenda item number 7.
Communication from Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding sewer and drainage easements relative to certain parcels on Lacombe Street in proper legal form, order number 22-100, 8516.
Councilor Pearlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to refer this to reports of committee.
Motion made and seconded to refer to reports of committee. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is referred to reports of committees. Agenda item number 8.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding Howes Landing subdivision, recommended acceptance of Geikus Lane as a public way.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please refer this to Public Service Committee and also the City Solicitor.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Public Services Committee and to the solicitor. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is referred to Public Service and the solicitor. Agenda item number 9.
Petition from Massachusetts Electric to relocate and install a new pole to remove a tree guy on Amory Road. Excuse me.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please refer to Public Service Committee and also set a public hearing.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Public Service Committee and set a public hearing for April 11th. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is referred to Public Service with a public hearing April 11th, 11-0. Agenda item number 10.
Application for renewal of junk dealer second-hand dealer license by Antoine Bitar, DBA Hanush Jeweler at 601 Donald J. Lynch Boulevard.
Councilor Landers.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to request my colleagues to work with me on the next 3 items. What I'd like to see us do is to approve these tonight. There's 3 requests for a junk dealer second-hand license, and these are companies that we've worked with. I have worked with, I think, like the last 10 years or so, and we get the query every year, and we've worked with it. Right at this point, I don't think it's necessary to bring these 3 individuals, into a public service committee. The chief will be doing the queries, and so as a result, I would like to see us vote on items 10, 11, and 12 tonight, pending the outcome of the query, and not require them, Mr. President, come before our committee.
So we'll take them one at a time if that's okay?
I think we'll take one at a time. Sure. Yes, a couple of reasons we got to do that.
Okay. On the motion to approve the junk dealer license from Hanush Jewelers, and also make sure that's contingent upon a successful query check from the police chief. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Agenda item number 11. Councilor Dumas. I'll hit him first. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm the reason why I can't vote on all 3, so I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Sit in the back of the room.
Thank you.
Understand, we'll let the record reflect that Councilor Dumas will abstain from participating in agenda item number 11. Councilor Landers.
A motion to approve.
With the similar query check?
What's that?
With the similar query check?
Yeah, have to wait for that query check.
Motion made and seconded to approve the junk dealer license for Jerry Dumas with a pending query check from the police, or successful query check from the police chief. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Is approved 10-0 and 1 abstention. Number 12.
Application for renewal of junk dealer second-hand dealer license by Roman Kimyarogrov, DBA Arthur & Son Shoe Repair at 107 Main Street.
Council Landers.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve pending the outcome of the query check.
Motion made and seconded to approve the junk dealer license for Arthur & Son pending a successful query check. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved 11-0. Agenda item 13.
Petition of New Singular Wireless PCS LLC, DBA AT&T, for a grant of location for 1 small cell wireless facility to be located on an existing pole within the public right-of-way in the vicinity of 241 Forest Street.
Councilor Landers.
Again, thank you, Mr. President. Please refer this to Public Service Committee and also set the date for a public hearing.
Motion made and seconded to refer this to Public Service, and we'll set a public hearing for April 11th. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved to go to Public Service with a public hearing on April 11th, 11-0. Agenda item 14.
Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the minutes of the boards, commissions, and committees.
Motion made and seconded to approve all the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved 11-0. Agenda item 15.
Claims.
Mr. President,
Councilor Doucette.
motion to send the claims to the legal department.
Motion made and seconded to send the claims to the legal department. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved 11-0 to go to the solicitor. Reports of committees. Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Personnel Committee met on March 21st. There was one item on the agenda. We convened at 6:03 p.m. with order number 22-100-8511. It's a reappointment of George LaVenture for the Planning Board with a 5-year term to expire February 1st, 2027. It was motioned by Councilor Doucette, seconded by the chair, and it was approved 3-0. And we adjourned at 6:12. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dumas. And the efforts of poor Peter hanging out in the back here will take up a legislative and legal.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Legislative and Legal Affairs Committee met on Monday, March 21st, along with other committees. We convened at 7:24 p.m. All the councilors were present for the meeting, and we also had the city engineer, the applicant, and Peter Bemis from Engineering Design Consultants. We discussed order number 22-100-8516, communication from Engineering Design Consultants on behalf of Lacombe Business Center, read the sewer taking an easement relative to certain parcels on Lacombe Street. We kind of got an overview from the engineer around the background history of the business center, about how before the city sold the land, it kept a piece of land around the sewer line, but there was no kind of record of giving up ownership. It was just considered an easement, and so this order requested that the city release its ownership of the land over the sewer, so it is officially in the title, and the city still retains the easement rights. And the applicant is making an adjustment as well to a drain easement on another part of the property that the city has rights to in order to make the easement reflect what is on the ground. We got agreement from both sides that the language was appropriate for everyone. We had some questions from the councilors, and then Councilor Roby moved to approve the order, so I'm going to move the recommendation of committee, which is to authorize the mayor to execute the deeds, accept the sewer easement, and authorize the mayor to execute an amendment to the easement and release the attached deeds.
There's been a motion to suspend the rules to vote on this evening. All those in favor of suspending the rules? Opposed? The rules are suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve the recommendation of committee.
Motion made and seconded to approve the recommendation of the committee, which is what the solicitor in agenda item number 7 has put in proper format. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Nice job, Council Perlman. Congratulations, Peter. Thank you, Tom. Next up, Council Orem.
Thank you, Mr. President. Operations and Oversight met on March 21st, 2022 as well. We convened at 6:13. The discussion was to review the succession planning report that we received from the Collins Institute, and we had very good discussion on that. And there was one additional discussion being held related to Chapter 44, Section 33A, and that is that this council body has the full authority when it comes to various roles within the city. So, and it usually goes through personnel, so I respect that from the chair of the Personnel Committee. The final vote was to, for this, refer it back to the mayor, so we didn't have any further meetings and so forth. That vote carried 2-1. I was in the negative. Councilor Dumas and Councilor Doucette were in favor of just referring this back to the mayor. It'll sit on the table till the next meeting for the full vote, and the meeting ended at 6:42. I think when I was watching the tape, I might have said 10:42. That's what I felt like after that meeting.
Long meeting.
That's the report of operations and oversight. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Orem. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee met on March 21st, 2022, convened at 7:38 p.m. The committee reviewed the following 4 city council orders. Order number 22-100-8525, transfer in the amount of $361,080.93 from PEG funds to Marlborough Cable Trust to fund the operation of WMCT-TV for FY 2023. On a motion by Councilor Dumas, seconded by the Chair Irish, the committee voted to recommend approval of the transfer to fund the operation of WMCT-TV as submitted, and it carried 5-0. Next item was order number 22-100-8526, proposed order for the establishment of the West Side Fire Station Stabilization Account. On a motion by City Councilor Dumas, seconded by Chair Irish, the committee voted to recommend approval of the establishment of the West Side Fire Station Stabilization Account as submitted by Mayor Vigent. It carried 5-0. Next was the committee discussed the following orders regarding the proposed West Side Fire Station. Order number 22-100-8402B-2, proposed amendment transfer request relative to the acquisition of 100 Lock Drive for a new fire station, clarifying the fund sources. And order number 21-100-8402A-1, proposed order to authorize the purchase of 100 Lock Drive for the purpose of building a new fire station. On a motion by Councilor Dumas to remove the word stabilization and to replace it with the word undesignated in the order authorizing the city to acquire real property located 100 Lock Drive, authorize an appropriation from undesignated fund in the amount of $5,092,666.66 to provide funding for said acquisition and authorize mayor to accept a deed for said property at 100 Lock Drive. Committee voted to approve the order as amended. It carried 5-0. On a motion by Councilor Orm, seconded by Chair Irish, to approve the amended transfer to clarifying fund sources as submitted from Mayor Vigent, the committee voted to approve the transfer 5-0, and that carried. Motion made, seconded, the meeting adjourned at 9:15 p.m., and I will be asking for one suspension this evening for order number 22-100-8525, please.
There's a motion for the suspension of the rules for order number 8525 for the cable TV funding. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? The suspension is approved. Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee to approve the transfer in the amount of $361,080.93 from PEG funds to the Marlborough Cable Trust to fund operations of their FY 2023 budget, please.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer of $361,080.93 from the PEG funds to fund the cable TV operation for fiscal year 23. In discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. 11-0. Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Climate and Resiliency Committee also met on March 21st. Our meeting started at 6:48 p.m. We're talking about one item, which is order number 22-100-8523, information from Mass Development PACE program, Property Assisted Clean Energy for Impact Opportunities. There was a lot of discussions and questions that was brought up as part of that meeting, and some concerns were brought up, basically that so far there's been 51 cities that have approved the PACE program within their communities, and only 2 businesses have taken advantage of the program so far. So basically what's wrong with this picture. There were some other questions that were brought up as far as the use of natural methane gas in future development, and there's other questions as far as what was the impact of COVID as far as impacting the adoption rate. I have already reached out to the PACE program. They were trying to get to our meeting. That wasn't happening because of prior commitments. But there is some other questions that we need to get addressed, which we need to do some additional research on. So we agreed to postpone it in committee. There was a motion by Councilor Wagner, second by Councilor Landers, and a vote of 3-0. Motion to adjourn was at 7:22 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Any other reports of committees? Anybody else? Councilor Landers, you want to mention public service on Wednesday?
Yes, I do have a public service meeting. I believe that's March 30th at 6:30, and we have 4 very interesting items on this. So I wouldn't mind if you people gathered around too. I think there would be some discussion, and I think there would be some good decisions made. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Are there any other reports of committees? Hearing none. Kick 'em.
I don't really want to leave yet. Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 9:17. Thank you, everyone.